treat everyone the same, which is I try to treat everybody well. And I don't think one person's better than another or one show's better than that. I think I treat every interview I do as professionally and as well and positively as I can.
Christina Flach, a well-known celebrity makeup artist and founder and CEO of Pretty Girl Makeup and beauty expert on NBC, talks with us about her first and foremost passion, beauty, fashion, health, and wellness. Christina is considered the superwoman of the beauty and fashion world and is creating change every day with the millions of women that she empowers to be the best versions of themselves by giving them the courage and confidence to embrace their inner selves through fashion, makeup, health, and positivity. She also uses her platform and her voice by creating change as a dedicated advocate in raising public awareness on a variety of topics, including the dangers of sepsis after losing her husband, tennis player Ken Flach, who died from this deadly infection a number of years ago. You're listening to Extraordinary Work, Conversations about Creating Change. I'm Terry Yoffe, a certified executive career and business coach and founder of Try Coaching. I strongly believe that these compelling conversations will guide you in making better life decisions. Welcome, Christina. How lovely it is to have you as my guest. Having come from the world of fashion and beauty myself, I'm so excited to meet a fellow traveler.
Oh, aren't you so nice? Thank you so much.
You've built this amazing empire, doing amazing things for women. And I think everybody wants to feel beautiful in one way or another.
That's true. We all want to feel beautiful.
Yeah. And, everyone says, well, it's what you've got inside, but it's also what you have outside. And yes, being kind, being wonderful does shine through. But we all want a little bit of the accoutrement, right?
Yes.
And the enhancement. Tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are.
Well, I started off as a makeup artist and doing friends and family and then working with different photographers. And then I miraculously got a portfolio together and I got some amazing agents. And then, it's funny. I can't even remember who my first celebrity was, which is really bad. I should remember, but it was just, one leads to the next. And then I was blessed with working with, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all these different fashion houses, and then different networks, Food Network, ABC, NBC, Fox. And it's just kind of steamrolled from there. It's been such an interesting journey, but so much fun because I am in a new place all the time. And I meet new people and it's just great. I couldn't ask for a better career. I'm so grateful. I love it.
It's so amazing that here you started out, right, in the world of photography and then pivoted. Were you always interested in beauty and makeup? Girls, what happens when they're little, they dabble and they think of becoming princesses and walking down a runway.
I was pretty much a tomboy, actually, but I liked, pretty things. I love things. I'm very visual, so I like a pretty environment. My house is always pretty tidy. There's flowers, there's candles. And so I think and I like making people look like the best versions of themselves. My mom, when I was growing up, was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. And so she did chemo and radiation and her skin was discolored and she lost her hair and she was going out with my dad. And I said, oh, let me do your makeup. I had no idea what I was doing. She didn't have very many makeup products, but miraculously, I made her look like her best version. But more importantly, how she felt. Her demeanor totally changed. And so part of my job, and I do this to this day, is making sure that people feel good when they go out in front of the camera or whatever event they're going to be at. So whether it be getting them a cup of tea, using aromatherapy oils to massage their hand, to listen to them, or sometimes I have to just be silent and give them some quiet. I have a pretty good eye of what someone needs very quickly. And so I try to get someone to obviously look visually like the best versions of themselves, but also to feel like the best version. And I think when you have positive energy, it's contagious. And when you feel good about life and are happy and laugh, it makes other people feel like that. So I think that's part of my gift.
I love the whole positivity because you can see people walk wherever and they're not happy. That they're struggling. And yet when they smile, there's a whole different demeanor that lights up their faces. How do you talk to someone when they don't feel so good about themselves?
So I've learned to be a good listener. And sometimes they want some advice, and then sometimes they just want to tell you their story. So I kind of know how to read people. And so I think that's something, people don't always have an easy time listening to other people. And I enjoy meeting new people, and I enjoy hearing people's stories. So it's not a burden to me at all. I enjoy it.
So on your journey, can you talk a little bit about the accomplishments that you felt most proud of?
Well, I've been very proud to be represented by these amazing agents. I'm very proud to work with all these fashion houses and different celebrities and different TV shows, to have my products in magazines, to speak with you today. I'm the new beauty expert on NBC on California Live, and I'm very excited about that. It's so funny when I think, oh my gosh, there's always something new that's happening, exciting. Writing. I've been on some magazine covers this year, which is remarkable. I would never have thought that in a million years. So that's pretty cool. So I did a TV show this season with Tyler Florence, who's been my longtime client of 16 years. We did a show on the Food Network called The Great Food Truck Race. So we're going to do another one in February. So I'm going to do next week Chris Harrison from The Bachelor. So I'm working with iHeartRadio. So there's just always something new and exciting. I tend to say yes to most projects. Like when my agents call, I just say yes, because it always leads to something. That's
wonderful that, even though you're this celebrity and work with celebrities and, founder, CEO of Pretty Girl Makeup, I was so honored that you were really, I'm being honest, that you were willing to even come on my podcast. You don't know me. I'm not a celebrity.
Oh my gosh. I'm so not like that. I'm honored that anyone actually wants to hear my story. I treat everyone the same, which is I try to treat everybody well. And I don't think one person's better than another or one show's better than that. I think I treat every interview I do as professionally and as well and positively as I can. Typically, when I go do these podcasts, I really don't know who anyone is. So I don't know if it's a big podcast, a little podcast. So I just always try to be the best version of me every time. And that's just easier. And sometimes, you don't need the pressure of, oh my God, this is a huge podcast. It's better to not, I honestly prefer not to know too much, because I think it's easier that way to just go into it open, and whatever questions come about, I'm ready for it.
You talk about working with people to be the best version of themselves. In your opinion, right? Because everyone's got a different one. What does that mean? Because we hear so much about, people wear makeup and, why don't they pare down? And, makeup doesn't make the person. It's who they are on the inside that comes through.
I think that's a crock of crap, quite frankly. I think that why is it bad to look like the best version of yourself? Like why? I don't think it's superficial. People are visual and they're not outwardly superficial, but people are like, why is that a bad thing? I don't think it's a bad thing. I think everyone should put their best step forward, whether you're going into a meeting or a podcast or whatever. Like, I think it's just the proper thing to do to be to show up looking pleasing. I think like with my makeup that I do on my clients, you don't really notice the makeup. You think, oh, wow, they look pretty, but they don't see like red lipstick, yellow eyeshadow, like whatever. I try to make it look like it's just a pretty face and nothing's really sticking out. I did makeup for this teenager and it was so interesting. She didn't know how to do makeup and I taught her how to pick the right foundation and just do age appropriate makeup. And it was so interesting because after, we had this consultation, her mom sent me a note and said, oh my God, she is such a different person. She's confident. She's so excited. We also spoke about like dreaming big and like, how do you reach your goals? And, what do you love to do? And so 2 weeks later, she sent me a note and said, you're not going to believe this. I applied for a study abroad program to do this art in Prague and I got it. And I'm going to Prague for 2 weeks. And, thank you for urging me to dream big and go for things that I normally, she goes, if I hadn't felt as confident after my makeup, I wouldn't have tried out for this thing. So I don't look at that, if people think that way, that's their problem and that's their negative attitude. I think it's all about presenting yourself in the most confident, positive way. And if that means your hair is brushed and you have a little bit of makeup on and you're dressed clean, like that's what you should do.
I agree. But, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit here. That's all. Because I certainly, like you, feel exactly the same way. I think when people put on a face, because sometimes in the magazines you see what people look like with no makeup and what they look like with makeup. It's like two different people.
It is. But also, you know what? That just shows you that even a famous model or actress has the same problems that you and I have. Dark circles, blemishes, everyone's got imperfections and I'm basically an illusionist. So I can
love
make
that.
People look different. They still look like themselves, but just a better version of themselves.
So do you ever work with everyday people, not celebrities? Talk about that a little bit because, the celebrities and you've been called and I did a lot of research on you, certainly. Well, I wanted to know what to say. Being considered as a superwoman of the beauty and creating change with how you empower women to be the best version and, having them embrace who they are, like that young girl.
Right. I had a woman yesterday come over. She works for Apple. And she had just gone through a divorce and she was going to a holiday party and she came over and I did her makeup. I mean, obviously, I'm not the cheapest makeup artist in the world. But you know what? She said it was worth every penny and she felt so great going to that party. And it's so fun to transform someone in such a short period of time.
I'm a coach. So aside from being a podcaster, I'm also an executive and business coach. And I get the whole transformation different, but in the end, it's the same. People transform who they become in the inside, right? So they
but
can.
It's more of a feeling that they have. It's a confidence. A confident human is always going to appear much more attractive than someone that is insecure and not feeling good about themselves. It's just the way it is.
Right. And for women, you can dress, you can put that outfit on, you can do your hair and your makeup. And even though, because I know this as a younger person, I didn't feel great about myself, but that didn't get in the way of how I presented myself, how I came across, right? Until I was able to have both work for me through many years of therapy. But, transformation is so important, whatever world you're working in. And I'm sure you see it every day with people. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, you're so
I am.
nice.
I don't ever get this emotional, but I am.
Well, I'm honored.
I am. Along the way, what were some of your challenges?
Well, I've had some personal things happen. My son passed away 16 years ago this month. And then my husband passed away almost 5 years ago. And so those were definitely, I went through a divorce after my son died. And I have 5 kids. And so I had to, work and still be a present mother and do all these things. And so, it was hard sometimes when things weren't as fantastic in my personal life, because my job is very giving. I have to be in a good mood and I have to present myself in a nice way. So if I'm depressed or, it can't be about me when I'm on set at all. It's not about me at all. It's kind of like being a mom, not about me at all. And so those were hard bumps in the road, dealing with my personal life that wasn't always in a perfect place. But I'm so grateful. What I've tried to do is think about, my daughter taught me this actually after my husband died. She said, you have to be grateful for the time you had with Ken and not what you don't have. And so I really do that when I'm having a challenging day. I really think about all the things that I'm grateful for. I've had so many miracles and blessings and fantastic opportunities in my life. And so I really try to focus on that. And I have so many friends and family and love in my life. I have a new relationship and I love him to pieces. And, I feel good. I feel loved. And so it's really easier for me now to focus on all my career because I don't have any distractions in my personal life.
And that's such an interesting point, that no matter how we feel or what we're going through, we have to show up.
Yes, we do have to show up. And people don't, it's the thing, like, I can't go do a TV show or work with some celebrity and tell them all my problems. No one wants to hear it. So I just don't even bring it out.
As a coach, I get on the phone with a client. I can't sit there and say, hey, by the way, let me tell you my problem. Not about me at all. It's about them. And yet sometimes I've worked with a client where they relate a story that touches, or a situation that touches me. I am crying.
Oh, I'm sure. I feel it too. Like, you have to kind of put a shield up at the beginning of the day and protect. But one of the things that I think that helps me give the most, self-care is super important. It's not selfish. I feel that you are able to give more when you, for example, if I'm like today, I took my son to school. I made sure I had my green juice and my tea and my water. I worked out for 40 minutes before this. I got ready. So I'm able to, be really present. Whenever I have a shoot, I make sure that I wake up pretty early beforehand. So I'm really awake. My tea and my vitamins have kicked in. I have enough food. So the better I take care of me, I can take better care of everyone else. So I think self-care is a big deal.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that.
It's not selfish at all.
And going back to coaching, because there's the same language, it's interesting how when people have to advocate for themselves, they don't, because they think
they're being selfish,
or they're being.
But yet they complain that they have no time, and they complain about having to do all this stuff. If you take care of yourself, you don't have to sit and complain about what you're doing for everybody else, because you've already taken care of you.
Self-interest, because people look at the flip side, which is selfish, and you have to get them to focus on it's self-care, self-interest, which is so important in everything.
I agree.
You are not only in the world of fashion and beauty, creating change, but you do it also in creating change as a dedicated advocate in raising public awareness on many levels with many different topics. And I know one is sepsis that you advocate for. And I love that it's not just the world of beauty and fashion where you're creating change, but using your platform and your voice, as I said, in a variety of areas to help create change as an advocate.
I am very passionate about nutrition and education for children. I started two educational funds at the Northern Lights School in Oakland for my son, Bo, and for my husband, Ken. It's a private school for underprivileged children. I started an outdoor classroom for my son, Bo, at the Edna McGuire School in Mill Valley, California. I feel that if kids are exposed to gardening and planting and harvesting and cooking and doing science experiments and cooking, that they will be more inclined as they get older to eat healthy, make wise, healthy choices with their diet. So those things are really important to me. Besides, I don't know, I just feel that giving back, I think when I've had hard times and, went through grieving and all these different things, it always helped me to help other people and not focus so much on myself and focus on other people. There are so many people so much worse off than me that I have nothing to complain about. So I am healthy, my kids are amazing, and I'm very grateful that I'm able to give back and help others. It just, I think, makes someone a lot more interesting if they're not just focused on their career, that they have other interests and other passions besides their work.
And it's a balance, the whole, beauty, fashion to this whole thing of advocating and raising public awareness in whatever areas that you're doing it. I think that's so amazing. So you've already got a legacy. Is there anything when you think about adding to that legacy, what would you like to add to it?
Well, I think just continuing, being the best version of being a good mother, a good partner, a good, raising more money for my charities and for helping other people. I just continue doing more of what I do.
Is there one last thing you'd like to add to let our listeners have a takeaway?
I think don't be afraid to fail. I feel like the only failures in life are not trying, being stuck, complaining about a miserable relationship or hating their job. Well, make the change. No one's going to make the change but you. So make steps toward that change. You don't have to quit your job, but start doing a part-time job along with your full-time job. And then maybe you can segue. I mean, that's why for me, owning my makeup company, it's like plan A and plan B. I days I'm not working on a photo shoot, I'm working doing podcasts, or I'm working on my company, I'm filming TV. There's balance in my life. I feel like people need to stop complaining and make some change. And they don't have to be, just make steps towards the change. And I think, having a lot of love and laughter in your life is so important. I'm very grateful that I laugh a lot. I have a lot of love in my heart, and I have a lot of love in my life, and I'm very grateful for that.
I couldn't think of a better way to end this with talking about love and kindness and love in your life and caring and a full heart. Christina, I cannot thank you enough for sharing this conversation with me. Thank you for joining the conversation. For related content on extraordinary work, visit my website, trycoaching.com. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another conversation. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and be sure to subscribe to future podcasts so you don't miss an episode. Always remember, when you work with passion and purpose, your work can become extraordinary. Was finding enough time for yourself this past year a struggle, and as hard as you tried, it just didn't happen? If the answer is a resounding yes, then you won't want to miss my next guest, Jacqueline Osborne, the host of the 52 Weeks of Me podcast, an endeavor which has become both her passion and her purpose. Jacqueline lets us in on how her podcast, born out of her journey as a full-time executive and mother of 3, desperately struggling with work-life balance, is helping others find their best selves.